Well, hey everybody, it's HeapCVA. What is going on? Hope you had a great weekend. If you guys are actually due a Mother's Day wherever you're at, hope it was a good one. That's pretty much what I've been tied up doing all day. Not that I'm complaining at all. Welcome to another edition of EmergeNYC. As we've heard, they're kind of stretching the distance between updates further apart, and it probably month to month we'll see changes. But with that being said, the last thing I had seen mentioned on Steam, mostly Steam, honestly. I went to Twitter and Facebook and didn't see as much information as I did on Steam, was that this is set at 0.3.3a. But there's no discussion of a 0.3.3a anywhere, just the regular 3.3 without the a on the end. Is it a big deal? I have no idea. I've been fooling with it a little bit. This would have been a video yesterday, but if you guys have been aware, there was that huge thing that came out about a virus called WannaCry, and the way it attacks your computer is very sophisticated, and of course they stole it from the National Security Administration in the United States. And the fact that they let somebody steal their stuff from him, that's for another time and another place, but I am shaking my head right this minute. What it did, though, is it forced me to go back and do something I hadn't been doing for a while, because I've been so focused on the videos themselves, is to do some significant backing up of stuff I want to archive. So I have 3 computers that I was doing backups on mostly yesterday. A lot longer than I usually have to take because I did some reorganization, especially as I get more videos set up for here. While I don't keep the base videos that come from OBS, I do keep the setup and the permanent video, the one that I upload, for a certain amount of time, usually 90 days. I was way behind on cleaning some stuff out because I usually, the program that I use to record and render is on a SSD, and then I move stuff when I'm done onto a hard drive to store it, 3 terabyte hard drive, and then I rotate stuff off of there after a certain point of time. I've been pretty lazy about doing that, so rather than get caught, because if you don't know what this virus could do, it is a ransomware type virus. It locks your computer. You can't access your files because they're encrypted, and they want money from you. And the dollar amount that I was seeing on some of the things I saw, not just videos on YouTube, was $350, and there was no guarantee that they would give you any information that would unlock your computer. If you had not backed up your stuff, and then when you back up, I'm talking about backing it up to something that's not installed inside your computer, like a portable hard drive or something like that you unplug once you get done backing up, you ran the risk of losing anything and everything on your computer. Once, of course, they'd gone through it to make sure that they got all your passwords and all your financial information, etc. And late last night, for me in California, I saw a thing where somebody had inadvertently, I guess it's part of their job, in the United Kingdom, was trying to figure this virus out and looking at some things, inadvertently did something that caused whoever's playing this game with this very serious virus to pull and shut everything down last night. So is the threat gone? I don't think so. I think this is just going to make them angry. What happened is NSA had a bunch of stuff stolen. They were hacked, which just makes me shake my head. And not because of the hackers. I mean, that's a good test of your security. But the fact that NSA, who struts around thinking they got their act together, let, a hacking group get in and just take stuff that they've owned the place. And they fired up this particular virus, which is very high level, and really did some damage, especially to places like hospitals. Not so much, I haven't seen much in the United States, but a lot in Europe, which is just awful. I mean, these people, all they're interested in is money, and they really don't care who they get it from, whether it's from you as a private citizen or the big community hospital down the street. They don't care. But I don't think they're done. It's not the only virus that they got a hold of, and so I don't think we're done with this yet. So the only suggestion I could make, and I put it on my Facebook page, is whether you like it or not, let Windows update appropriately and often to make sure that you got the latest patches up. Make sure that your antivirus and malware and all of the software you should be running on your computer is up to date. I update my antivirus every 4 hours. And it's probably not often enough, to be honest with you. And you think that sounds like way too much. Really, really, really. Because I did this as part of my assignment in the fire service. It was sometimes not enough. They can barely keep up. There's a lot of money to be made. So anyway, here we are in EmergeNYC. We're in 0.3.3a. I've been fooling around with it. In the last video I put up, you could see the stuttering and the kind of the jerkiness of the apparatus. So I was fooling around day before yesterday before I had to get into the security mode. And I noticed a couple of changes that I want to bring up. And I want you to see what all of a sudden, quite honestly, the play looks like. I'm still running it at the lowest setting, which is fine with me for right now. But I'm surprised at the smoothness of having all of the fire apparatus on the map. Now, they weren't all in the same scene because, as you know, the way it runs now is it just throws calls at you. And there's not much you can do with them, but you'll have fire apparatus going from call to call. So let me hit the play button, and I'm not going to make you sit here and wait with me and watch that thing until it takes me about close to 2 minutes to get the game to load in. And I'll come right back, and we'll start from there and go on. Okay, so give me just a second. All right, here we are back. Welcome. This doesn't have a station number. It's 125th Street Station, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's 75 truck and 30 engine. Seems to be where we get to start from here on in. I noticed that there was a master slider volume slider, up on the upper left-hand corner. And if you're struggling with it, just know that if you change the volume, like you use your cursor and move it, until you click on a fire apparatus, the left and right button, the A and D, will move that slider. And so even though you've dropped the volume down, as soon as you turn right in a fire engine and you haven't done what I said yet, you'll ramp the volume right back up. So as soon as I move this, I click on a unit and it seems to stop it. But if you're driving and then you do it, it seems to not work as well. Maybe other people are having different luck. If you are having some different luck with it, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences compared to mine, because it seems like if you go to the forums that there's a few different things depending on what your computer looks like and how you play the tech demo and all that stuff. It's just interesting for me, if nothing else, while I'm waiting for new updates to come out. So let's talk about some more things that I've seen. You may already know about them. You know, when I took the couple weeks off to go on the see some family and do some family things that had to be taken care of, I missed the multiplayer update and any other things that they had added to the game for single players. And so I was kind of curious when I came back to the game what I would see. Probably one of the chief things that I'm seeing now, and as we're looking south from that fire station, I seem to see more buildings than I did in the last video, which is a great thing. Now, are all of them perfectly textured? No. He's doing exactly what he said he'd do, is trying to slowly get rid of these white boxes and fill them with buildings that may just be the boxes with a different painting on them, but they're not something you can actually do anything with. Like some of the buildings along here look like they have more that you could be actively doing something on. I don't care. It looks good. One of the other things I noticed that wasn't there when I did the last video is the ability to do this and this without moving my mouse. Notice? There's my cursor in the white field of that, one of the last of the square rectangle, or that's not square, it's a rectangle. I'm using the keys, which are the same ones you use to drive. And if I hold down the shift key, I go faster. I am so happy to see that back. I can't tell you. It keeps me from moving the cursor off the screen because I got two monitors. Remember, they haven't fixed that issue, and as soon as the mouse cursor would go off this screen and onto the other one, if I clicked, it would take the game, the tech demo, down to the test bar. And then I would have to bring it back up. And while it hasn't done it recently, earlier it actually would crash the game. So it's not doing that anymore. I really appreciate that. So I love being able to fly over the city with this thing now. Or if one of the fire bells go off, if you know where it is, and I still have my map, whether or not I physically know where the location is, there is a map available on their website. You may hear me pulling it out from underneath another piece of paper. For me, it needs to be about the size of the wall in this room. The writing is too small. But it's giving me a better idea. The more I fool around, the more I understand the numbering system for the streets, and which apparatus make the most sense to send to a given location if I can figure it out. So hopefully while we're doing this, we might even see the bell go off a few times. I've had some really good calls. You run out of fire apparatus really fast. There's 49 and what is it, 68? I have to look. Yeah, 68. They still haven't addressed the issue with the day timing, where, you know, we've been in this thing for what, 8 minutes, and it's gone from morning to night. Well, that can't be realistic when it comes to when the bell goes off, which, like I said, we'll talk about that in a second, when that goes off, and by the time, if you're doing it by yourself, you get all the apparatus on scene and get the trucks all set up, and because it's really the only thing you can do, the visual that you get is that fire took like 28 hours to put out. I know it's the game, tech demo, whatever you want to call it, but still, they need to slow it down. This is supposed to be a relatively realistic thing, and the time is not realistic in any universe. So that brings me, well, shoot, I gotta think about what I was just saying. About time. And it'll come to me in a minute. You can see, if you look to the left, and I have this on the lowest setting, the water texture is back. You know, I had done another video that, of course, an earlier iteration of open broadcast software failed to record. Basically what I got was 38 minutes of my voice and 2 minutes of video. And a friend of mine said something about that. You know, a lot of people use the capture device that's part of NVIDIA's software for my video card. I actually used that when I first started, but it's not as flexible with some additional stuff, especially for adding extra screens if I ever get the courage to do group play or streaming. And I had some issues with it, especially in the new version of some of their software. So OBS is free. I just figured out that when Windows sent out their last update, I needed to actually finally update open broadcast software and quit waiting and fooling around. That was my fault, and we'll see how this goes. This is the first time I'm using the latest version of OBS to move around the map, and maybe that'll have an impact on how the video looks. I changed a few settings to try to get it maybe a little bit better render, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm just kind of cruising around hoping that something will happen. I mean, I'd love to be able to, when you're ready, rather than waiting for the bell, is to have something to do. And I did notice that somebody asked, is there going to be other things to do while you're waiting? And apparently you're going to be able to do quite a bit inside the quarters, clean the fire apparatus, and some other things. So I'm kind of curious how that's all going to flesh out. There are some things that still aren't doing very well. You cannot, if you come over here, last time I checked, not traffic, you can't spawn a police car. Notice we didn't go anywhere. I can spawn an ambulance. That's great. If you're going to spawn it, don't back off and disconnect it to control another vehicle, because that's what happens. It disappears. So that's still an issue that they've got to address. You know, like I said, every time they fix something, 3 other things break. And I know they were getting frustrated. I appreciate them still hanging in there, considering a lot of the negativity I saw on the boards. But I will have to say, and this would have been on the previous video if it had actually recorded, somebody had put a post up there that says, I just don't understand why people don't get the concept of early access, and that there is no requirement of anyone to put any money down. Just wait for it to be done. And if it doesn't get done, you earn out $1. But don't put your money down and then be unhappy with something that's a tech demo. I have to point at Steam a little bit for why the demo button is still on there after all this time, because the demo hasn't been available since, wow, first of the year, if not earlier. It just won't go away. And it kind of frustrates people because they see that and assume. I know everybody would like to have a free copy of a game to check before they take their credit card out of their pocket. Doesn't always happen that way. And if that's one of your primary issues, your best, I got to figure out where I am, best thing to do is to not purchase games that you have very little trust in. Now I know where I'm at. And I wish I could tell you otherwise, or, you know, don't worry about it. But that would be ridiculous on my point. And I know I'm moving around a little too fast, but wow. Oh, we got stuck in a building. I noticed that there are some extra things along in this corridor here, which is over by 49s. And I mean, I check the street every day because that's how often something is changing. And so, you know, I have to be wary about what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, because I think he's sliding in a few things and he's just kind of letting them out there and letting them kind of test run to see if they're okay. And then if it works and nobody screams, then he can announce that he's done something. Where is 49 station at? Why couldn't I see that before? Because I was a block north. That's my fault. I forgot he's on the short block, not the long block. So I wanted to look at that because I had read in 0.3.3 that he had put some furniture back into the fire stations. It may be easier to do it this way. So we'll get onto 49s. Click that out of here. Let's spin around slowly. And you can see over here the locker. There's some protective clothing. I would call them turnouts. The helmets, and in the back as well. There's some stuff. If I can get down pretty far and back off, I might be able to lose control. Come on, there it is, unfortunately. Let's see if I can get down low enough to go through the station. Actually, I didn't have much luck with this yesterday. I really could not get low enough because this angle here is not going down far enough yet, and I couldn't sneak into the fire station and see what was in the back. I literally couldn't figure out how to do it. So it's still doing that to me. If you have a new or improved way of doing it, I'd love to hear it. I do not like the middle button push though. You can, however, you know, get right in here, and if I spin around and I back up just a little bit, come on. There's a sweet spot here for this. I just got to find it. It's not going to let me do it. Darn it. So you can say right here there's a shop. It's got some tools in it. You know, there's a kitchen now that you'll be able to use with your personnel, stuff like that. Like I said, little things that make it positive. I am really surprised I haven't seen the bells go off yet. That really catches me off guard because we're into this thing quite a ways and I'm still not seeing anything. And I'm not disappointed, I'm just surprised. I mean, we've gone from the bells going off one right after another every 2 minutes to really not having anything going on. So what I'm going to do, because that's all of the new things I could think of, is I'm going to kind of stop time, and I'll come back as soon as we get something to go to, and hopefully it's something good that we can kind of close out the video on. So I'll be back as soon as we get a response. Well, here we go. Finally back. Believe it or not, I actually had to restart the game. So looks like 32 engines gonna go. So we'll get them going. It's come in as a smoke from a manhole. Very popular call in this particular game. Now, I want to show you something as we pull out. Something he had mentioned is that he was going to move or flip the cars around so that the vehicles were going the correct way. I don't know about you, but these vehicles are still facing the wrong direction. And in the video that failed to record, I figured, well, I'm going to turn right. Big mistake. Now I do have, or did have, I'm sorry I don't, I did have some minimal traffic going just to see what was going on here. So This should be right up here somewhere. It should be probably in the same spot it's on all the time. Yeah, there it is right there. So it's light smoke. So these guys are going to check it out. You know, don't worry, none of those sirens are for us, that's for sure. I'm going to back out and drop out of control of him. I want to see. Alright, well, why don't we, just in case. Now, if that had been more specific, it's, you know, if that smoke gets any worse, we'll consider moving. So I'm going to have 66 come out with him. That's a good spot for them. So we can help them out. So we're just going to sit them right there. I'm not looking at a whole lot of extra stuff happening with this. I mean, we can stare at this thing all we want. It's not going to change. I don't know why some of them are green and some of them are red like this. You notice there's some sparks coming out. In my experience, this is what getting the electrical company out. Notice how the tires are kind of sinking into the pavement a little bit. I think up here in this area too, there's some crosswalk lines that are too high. I think it's just back. Oh yeah, I can use these buttons now. Some of these in here, I think it's on the way to 6 somewhere. Either this intersection or this intersection, the lines are up too high. We may get to see that, I doubt it. It doesn't look like we're going to get much in the way of calls, which is, you know, normal stuff. But notice how this incident, we've been on scene for, you know, 5 minutes maybe. And in tech demo time, it's been 6 hours. And I dislike that. But it's not my deal. You know, a lot of people just get so angry at this. I'm just enjoying the ride, so to speak. Now you can tell I'm controlling something still. No, I'm not controlling something still. I said that wrong. Because I have to use the center mouse button to rotate. So I'd like to bring a police officer in to do some traffic control. Not going to happen in my lifetime. So what I've been doing in the single player version, because I'm not playing multiplayer right this minute, is getting at least an engine on scene, making a size up, determining whether excuse me, any additional units are going to be required, and then moving on and kind of leapfrogging apparatus from incident to incident. I had a really good 12-story fire on off of 5th Street that, even though I had a vehicle fire in the tunnel and I had a vehicle fire on the street, and then we had another one of these kind of fires, only there was flames blowing out of it. You know, you have to triage incidents based on your units, because there's no button you can push to get additional units coming from somewhere else. I do believe we need one additional fire station on the island somewhere to cover what I think is a fringe area in the center, closer to what I would call the Times Square area. And if nothing else, to kind of pick up slack, whether it's, I don't think it has to be another squad or a rescue. It just needs to be something that can kind of help pick up the slack on some of the incidents that we're getting, where we're just running out of equipment before we run out of fires. So I guess this is going to be the best incident that I get. So I'll get close enough so that we can see the smoke and the steam. And I guess I will keep trying. At least it's something else to do. Like I said in that one video, if he just put a fire on the map, everybody'd be happy. Well, he did sort of answer everybody's request for that. Now we need to take the next step and find a way to resolve an incident so that we can free up apparatus to respond to the next one. I know he's working on it. Sometimes I'm so impatient with what could happen with this tech demo when it becomes a game. So, enough is enough for today. I appreciate you coming by my channel. I always appreciate the people that come by, whether it's your first time or you've been here before, whether you're a subscriber or not a subscriber. I have a lot of fun doing this. I've had some things kind of trip me up in the last week or so. I'm trying to get back on track and get my schedule back on track to get videos up in a timely fashion. Remember that make sure that your computer's up to date and all your antivirus programs are working and up to date as well, as we get through this latest virus threat, and see it to its conclusion. If you got any comments, questions, anything you need to say about this game or tech demo in particular, please leave them in the comments for this video. I'd really appreciate it. Love talking to you guys, love answering them all. I used to try to get back to them within 48 hours. If you don't have any comments or anything, that's okay. I understand. You could just click the thumbs up or thumbs down, let me know if I'm doing a good job or I'm doing a terrible job and I need to start over. That being said, I hope you're having a great day. If you do the Mother's Day thing, hope your Mother's Day was awesome. If that's not what's going on for you today, I hope you are having or did have a great day, and that your weekend turned out pretty good. You know, everybody knows Monday's coming, you know, if you're still working. I wish you all the best. You know, and I know we'll see each other in the next video, and we'll be talking soon. So you guys have a great week, and take care.